You know, when you start to work on a brand or a company that bears your name, one of the first things that you do is you start to think, well, what am I about? What do I love? What are the things in my life that I love? So in thinking about what flower inspired me, it was really quite natural that it was the black orchid. After really searching and looking for the perfect black orchid, we found this wonderful man in California who was in the process of developing the blackest orchid that is at this moment known to exist. And we were able to step in and to work with him and to actually acquire this black orchid. And the good news is that not only was it an incredibly beautiful flower, but it also had a wonderful scent. We were able to capture the headspace of the orchid, which is a technical term that's used with perfumers, where you actually capture the molecules in the air around a bloom, and from that you're able to synthesize that smell. The scent of this black orchid forms the heart of the fragrance Tom Ford Black Orchid. Originally, when I thought of this idea, I'd imagined that Tom Ford Black Orchid counters all over the world would have a black orchid, which we may have in about 10 or 15 years. This year we have 4, next year we'll have 8, the year after that we'll have 16. So it's a slow process. We were lucky enough to find this orchid grower at a time when we were able to step in, work with him, and actually we now own this orchid, and it is and will always be called the Tom Ford Black Orchid. You can live a moment in life with one scent, and you can live the same moment in life with a different scent, and you can have a completely different reaction. It can capture mood in the same way that music does. It's one of those things that you can't see. It's one of those things that you can't touch in the same way that music is, but it can transform a moment. There's a gourmand quality to this scent, which is important to me always in a fragrance. The ingredients of black orchid are black truffle, bergamot, black currant. These are the top notes, the first things that you smell. The heart of the fragrance is the black orchid, which has a slightly spicy, peppery scent, but very rich. The back of the fragrance, which is really the part of the fragrance which supports the fragrance and which you're left with in the dry down of a fragrance, is vanilla tears, incense, and patchouli. Very warm, very sensual. The concentration of fragrance in Tom Ford Black Orchid is 20%, which is a higher concentration than you would find in most perfumes. I wanted the scent to be incredibly rich, really warm, not overpowering, but quite present. Scent is one of the things that alters mood, and it's incredibly important. I wanted this fragrance to be incredibly rich, not just the scent, which is incredibly rich, but also the packaging. You know, we've lost a lot, I think, in fragrance in the last decade, certainly. Fragrances have become transparent, bottles have become so minimal and streamlined. Advertising that relates to scent has often been stripped down to the point where we've lost some of the mystery and some of the real iconic quality of fragrances that we had back in the 20s and 30s. So I wanted the packaging for this to be just as powerful and just as strong and just as rich, literally, as the fragrance itself. It was natural who I would want to work with on this, so I went to Paris and asked Lalique to work on the bottle with us on this. And this is something that they haven't done in quite a long time. I mean, you would find Lalique bottles, of course, back in the 20s and 30s. So many houses worked with Lalique for their bottles. But it's really rare that today you're able to have that kind of quality in packaging. The bottle is a dark, opaque, black glass bottle that is a little bit reminiscent of the 1920s and 1930s, yet at the same time it's quite streamlined, and I think a very modern interpretation of that. The packaging for the perfume bottle then of course, gave us the inspiration for the eau de parfum bottles, which are even more streamlined and even more modern than the perfume bottle. While they still have the fluted glass, they're in a really beautiful shape that feels great in your hand. The process of putting on the fragrance, the process of holding the bottle, getting it out of your handbag or wherever you keep it, how it feels in your hand, that's very important. Even the details of this bottle, not only the glass portion of the bottle, but the way the bottle is put together, are something that you don't find very much today. The neck of the bottle has a beautiful gold hand-tied cord, which is quite old-fashioned, with a beautiful crimp. The plate of the bottle is plated in 23 karat gold. Every detail we really paid attention to, and I think that the end result is a very strong, powerful bottle that I hope captures the essence of the scent. I really wanted to create an iconic scent. And an iconic scent for me is one in which the fragrance is powerful and strong. The bottle is equally iconic and memorable. And the mood, the message, the mystery that the advertising image conveys, and that the fragrance, just when you smell it, conjures up, is what it takes to have an iconic scent. And I hope and really believe that Black Orchid is and will be an iconic fragrance.